This guy is my absolute hero. Watch this brand new video that is breaking the internet of an ICE agent who absolutely smokes and roasts these paid, radical, leftist, anti-American agitators. This is pure brilliance. Watch.
Yeah, families should be ripped apart. That's kind of our energy. Like we should rip people apart from their families.
Are you a man?
Wow. Wow, is that a question?
Wow.
Okay. How do you feel about ripping people from their families? Does that feel good?
Fucking house nigga in here. Sir, I need to move. Fucking house nigga working for the fucking KKK.
What the fuck's wrong with you people? Why are you calling a woman a man? I mean, what kind of a guy does that?
Please, fucking house nigga, bitch.
Fucking neighbor.
Go look for your fucking fight.
Look how close they got to him, too. I mean, with all intents and purposes, all of these law enforcement officers who are simply carrying out their duty, they're abiding by the law, could easily have perceived that. Remember, I went through this entire video with the #1 criminal self-defense expert in the nation. That could have been identified as a credible threat, a violent threat that officers could have taken action on. And in a court of law, in our United States of America, under the Constitution, he had every right to respond to that. I mean, look, they were pushing him, getting close. He had every right to, but he restrained himself. That guy deserves a medal. Before anybody starts judging him, well, oh my God, he said, "Are you a man? Are you a man?" And he stuck his middle finger. So what? He could have done 10 times worse. I'm proud of the fact of the way that he acted. And plus, I don't know if you heard it or not, but multiple times those protesters called him a house N-word. Multiple times. So what happened? I thought this was all about race. Remember the language they kept using and invoking? These unmarked vehicles are sweeping up brown and black people. These are undocumented immigrants. I can't believe this. This is 1930s. This is Germany. This is, first of all, yeah, of course they're in unmarked vehicles because that's part of the whole operation. If the criminals, these are the worst people on planet Earth. These are terrorists, gangsters, narco, illegals, cartel members, thugs. They have done massive harm to American citizens, massive harm to our kids. Never mind all the fentanyl they bring into our country, toxic poison. If they knew they were coming, that would completely blow their cover. So of course they're in unmarked vehicles. And the reason that they're masked is because of crazy nut jobs like you jeopardizing their lives and their family lives by doxing them all over in public, on the internet, on multiple platforms. Here you have a black ICE agent saying enough is enough with you nutcases. He says, what the F is wrong with you people? And he's absolutely right. And how do they respond? They respond as vitriolic, insane, nutjob, lunkhead racists, calling him a house. So this has absolutely nothing to do with brown and black people sweeping. It has something to do with the fact that you guys need to create chaos. Listen to this. This is so important. They need their George Floyd moment 2.0. You think they gave a rat's ass about Alex Pretty and Renee Good? Every single Democrat leader, every single anti-American, radical communist, Congressman, Senator, Obama, Soros, they were salivating when Renee Good got shot. They were salivating when Alex Pretty went down, because this is exactly what they want. They don't have any achievements. They don't have a track record. They have no resume. They haven't done a thing for Americans. Only thing they have been doing is fighting our president, our administration that you and I and 80 million of our Americans all voted for. Only reason they're fighting this is because they want to retain power. We are deporting their actual voters.
Today I wanted to take a look at some long-term population trends that really should set off a flashing red siren to Democrats nationwide while bringing a big smile to the faces of Republicans nationwide. Why do I say that? Because take a look at the big population gainers versus the last census back in 2020. According to the latest population estimates that take into account the population mid-2025, look at this. The biggest population growth this decade, all 5 of the states that Donald John Trump won in 2024. Texas, Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, and of course the great state of Arizona, where I spent my New Year's Eve. I love those folks out in Prescott, Arizona. These were the biggest gainers in terms of population compared to the 2020 census. Now, it's not just a red state boom. This is what we're looking at. We're looking at a red state boom here, but it is not just a red state boom. We're also looking at what I would dare call a blue state depression, because who are the people? Who and where are the people moving from into the red states? Well, they're blue states. They're blue states. Take a look here. The lowest domestic net migration this decade. All 5 of the states that were won by Kamala Harris in 2024. Look at this. California, Harris's home state. New York, where I'm coming from right now, of course. Illinois, New Jersey, and of course the great Commonwealth of Massachusetts, which is a bastion of blue liberalism. These are the states that folks in the United States are moving away from and into the red states, which is propelling a red state boom. Now, this is interesting, right? But it could also have major political ramifications if it holds for 2030, the next census. Because take a look here. If, in fact, the 2025 population shifts hold for the 2030 census, look at this. Look at the House seat shifts by state. Remember, of course, we apportion the number of House seats depending on the population in each state. If, in fact, the 2025 population shifts hold for 2030, states that Kamala Harris won, they would lose 7 seats in the United States House of Representatives. The states that Donald Trump won in 2024, they would gain 7 seats. Now, this isn't just about the House of Representatives, right? It's also about the Electoral College, because the number of electoral votes that each state gets is equal to the number of senators. Each state, of course, has 2, plus the number of House seats that they have. So what would this mean for the House of Representatives? Well, if you remember back in 2024, right, it was all about, we were talking about the blue wall. If Kamala Harris could win the baseline Democratic states and then add in the blue wall states of Michigan, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, she would get to 270 electoral votes. But if all of a sudden we, in fact, have applying the 2025 estimates, the population estimates, to the Electoral College, the blue states plus the blue wall of Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin would no longer be enough. Under the current estimates, you get to exactly 270 electoral votes, the minimum needed to win the Electoral College. If, in fact, you apply the 2025 estimates, look at that. You would only get to 263 electoral votes if you were a Democrat, which would mean a Republican victory. Now, of course, we're still a number of years away from reapportionment, right? We take the census come 2030. But what we can say so far is we got a red state boom going on, a blue state depression going on, people moving from the blue states to the red states, and if it holds for 2030, well, it would make the Democratic nominee for president's job of winning the Electoral College that much more difficult.
I would say that's excellent news for America. People are sick and tired of this. Overwhelming polls, censuses have all concluded that the majority, it's not 50, it's not 60, it's not 70, it's like in the high 80% of Americans want our elections to retain their integrity and to have voter ID be mandatory. Don't forget, y'all, Kamala Harris in 2024 did not win a single state, not one, that required voter ID. You guys remember what's happening in Fulton County? After refusing to honor any requests from the DOJ, well, finally, FBI agents raided with Kash Patel, Fulton County in 2020. You've got mooks like Mark Warner, Democrat, saying, why did Tulsi Gabbard take part in a raid on election office in an election? We need to step up to protect our elections from this administration's meddling. And then Tulsi Gabbard responded saying, contrary to the blatantly false and slanderous accusations being made against me, by members of Congress and their friends in the propaganda media, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence has and will continue to take action under my statutory authorities to secure our nation and ensure the integrity of our elections. And she responded in a huge letter backing everything up with evidence and data. I would say if everybody's against you, Tulsi, if all these hypocrites are coming down on you and raining down on you with rage and fake outrage, that means you're probably doing an excellent job. But wait, there's more. I got a text message from Senator Dolezal, who we had on the show not that long ago. If you missed that interview, you got to go check it out. It was fantastic. He was the lead in the Senate committee that questioned Cash Money G, Fannie Willis, who made an absolute fool of herself, just proving that she is one of the most corrupt individuals to ever hold office. DEI kills. Everything, as a matter of fact, including comedy, if you watch the Grammys, because Trevor Noah was about as funny as a bag of rocks. But he sent me a text message with this breakthrough discovery. Watch this.
All right, y'all. Yesterday, I made a serious allegation on the floor of the Georgia State Senate that Fulton County's voter rolls have been, and continue to be a complete mess. And today we're going to bring you the receipts. Currently, in the state of Georgia, it is illegal to be registered to vote from anywhere other than your primary residence. Can't register to vote at UPS stores, can't register to vote at homeless shelters, can't register to vote under an overpass. But today, and this is as of the January 5th Fulton County voter rolls, about 70 people are registered to vote right here. We're going to bring you a couple more locations to show you that this is not an anomaly. Fulton County has got to get their act together. All right, y'all, this is 850 Oak Street in Fulton County. And there are 19 people registered to vote at this abandoned house. And so again, this is on the Fulton County Registrar. They've got to clean up their voting rolls. This is not a new problem. And remember, back in 2020, absentee ballot request forms were sent to every single registered voter, including at locations just like this. All right, so we are at 1445 Woodmont Lane, physicaladdress.com. 138 people registered to vote, but I've got a treat for you. This is Jason Frazier. Jason, come on in the frame here. Jason is the guy that's done all of the heavy lifting on this. He and David Cate are the two folks that brought this to my attention. Jason, how hard was it to figure out that you had thousands of people in Fulton County registered to vote from illegal voting locations?
You know, it's not that difficult. The hardest part is getting a copy of the voter rolls. I mean, not everybody wants to spend $485 for the statewide voter roll, but essentially once you get it, just sort it based on number of people at one address. And this one jumped real far out of the page because there's 138 people registered to vote here. And when we turn the camera, you'll see it's just it looks like it used to be a house, but now it's a commercial virtual mailbox. So I can't fathom there's 138 beds in that house, so they can't be registered to vote there.
Here's the thing, Jason, that's really compelling to me. The county has every piece of zoning information. They know this is a commercial location. They obviously can do easy database sorting and searching. You also, though, have identified 1,000 people that were born in the year 1900 that are on the Fulton County voter rolls. You've identified a couple hundred other people that very much seem to be the same person, same name, same address. I'm sorry, same date of birth.
Yeah.
And tell us about some of that.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of folks across Georgia who show 1800 or 1900 as their date of birth, which means what I've heard is that means they don't know their date of birth. If Fulton County or anywhere in the state, they don't know your date of birth, how can they be checking to see if you're a legal resident? And a lot of these, we were talking about the duplicates, they'll have two people registered to the same address with the same year of birth in slight variations of their name. So maybe it's Bob and Robert, maybe it's Bob and Bob. And it's clearly the same person at that address. But if you've got typos in somebody's name and you don't know their date of birth, how in the world do we know they're a U.S. citizen? And that just needs to be cleaned up so we can verify everything.
And here's the last thing I'd like to say. The fact that people like Jason and David and, a number of other people from Derek Somerville to Mark Davis to Philip Davis have had to do this kind of work on their own is frankly absurd. The Fulton County Registrar, this is their job. They are the ones that are supposed to keep the voter rolls clean. And like I've said before, and Fannie Willis got mad when I said it, it's always Fulton County. and Fulton County has got to get their act cleaned up. Jason, thank you for the work that you guys have done. Super, super grateful.
Thank you.
I'm going to head to the next location, and I think we're heading next to maybe a homeless shelter. But ironically, there's a homeless shelter across the street from the Capitol with 1,900 people.
Yeah, they've had as many as 2,300, 2,400 is most I've seen. And I mean, you can go right on their website. They don't have that many beds. This is the problem.
All right, this is 477 Peachtree Street. There's 70 people registered to vote here. It's a homeless shelter that closed in 2017. All right, y'all, here we are, 2625 Piedmont, another UPS store, 96 registered voters right here in direct violation of Georgia law. Not hard to find for us, apparently pretty hard to find for Fulton County.
Isn't it interesting how none of these Democrats are talking about this? None of the woke media apparatus are discussing this. All they're doing is spreading propaganda and lies. And as I've said many, many times before, there's only one thing we absolutely must do.
The American people demand Senate Majority Leader John Thune bring a vote on the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, and let's have proof of citizenship to register to vote. We have this one moment in history with Donald Trump at the helm, with a trifecta Republican government. I say nuke the gosh darn filibuster, pass law after law after law.
Amen, Scott. I've been saying it for how long, y'all? We need to get rid of it. Obama did it in 2013. Plenty of other presidents have done it. The Democrats, if they win the House and they get seats in the Senate, they will definitely do it, and they will impeach our president. They will open up the border. They are ruthless. They don't give a rat's ass about anybody. They certainly don't care about the people who've lost their lives protesting for them against law enforcement officers doing their job. I dare you to find me one. Here's my question to you, because I know Democrats, you guys watch this show. Everybody watches this show, as you should. Hello, quite frankly, probably. Me and Melania, we watch him every night. He's the greatest. Professor Nez, thank you, Mr. President. I love you. Find me one. Put it in the comment. One logical reason not to require voter ID. Give me one. Here's a list of just things that I researched really quickly. I just want to share this. This will take 2 seconds. You need an ID to buy alcohol. You need an ID to buy tobacco products or vaping items, to board domestic commercial flights. To open a bank account, you need an ID. To rent a hotel room, rent or buy a car, purchase a firearm, apply for a gun-related permit, pick up prescription medications, enter a casino or gamble, you need an ID. Apply for government benefits. You need an ID to get married. Apply for a job. Donate blood. The list goes on and on. You want to adopt a pet? Guess what? You need an ID. Why on God's green earth would we not want or require a valid ID for making one of the most consequential civic decisions any citizen of any sovereign nation could ever make in their lives, which is to place your sacred freedom and liberty to vote for the future governance and leadership of the nation that you and your children reside. Give me one good reason. Put in the comment down below. I love you guys. Tap that thumbs up. I can't wait to hear from you. Check out these videos coming up on the screen right here. Go check these out right here. These are amazing. Tap my face right here to subscribe and follow. It doesn't cost you a thing. And as always, may God bless you, and may God bless the USA and all who defend her. I'll see you soon.